Hey, my name's Dustin, and I'm going to do a quick review on my experience with 712 Auto Sales in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So, my wife and I were in the market of looking for a two-seater convertible. We live in the Phoenix area, and we came across a 370Z Nissan at their lot. It was the color that my wife wanted, a pearl white with a convertible. Obviously, she wanted a convertible. And so she's like, we really like this. It was priced a little high, in my opinion, what we've seen in other cars, and they were not willing to negotiate on price. And that's fine if it's exactly the car that they described. So I called in and I wanted to know, because we live about 7 hours away, that it was going to be worth the time to make that trip. If it, because most of the stuff you can find out over the phone. Obviously, you want to test drive it, you want to see it in person, all that kind of stuff. So I did my due diligence and asked all the appropriate questions when it came to the things that mattered to us. So I asked them about the body, paint, any dings, scratches, damage, anything like that on the paint. Asked them about glass, dings, chips. Does the convertible top work well? Is there anything wrong with it on the interior? Leather, scratches, dents, the dash, anything like that. Like, I asked all the questions. Tread depth on the tires, wheels, are they in good shape? All that stuff. So I asked him about everything. What he told me was that he said no less than 10 times on the phone, and we also did a FaceTime walk around. I wanted to do a FaceTime walk around because I was like, before we actually make the 7 hour trip to Albuquerque, I want to give him the opportunity to be able to let me know everything that's wrong with this thing. Because on the phone, he told me it was an immaculate car. There's nothing wrong with it. No paint chips, no scratches, dings, dents. And so I was like, okay, I'll give him at least one more opportunity to show me. And obviously with a video and with a phone, especially with a white car, it's hard to be able to see things. So the purpose of doing this was not like I'm going to be able to find out what's wrong with the car visually. I'm giving him the opportunity to be able to tell me what's wrong with it. So when he goes around the car and he says it's in immaculate condition, I trust that it's in immaculate condition, meaning without blemish. I asked about the tread depth. He said tread depth was 90%. These were almost new tires. And then, the convertible top, I said, what about the convertible top? He goes, actually, the mechanics told me that the convertible top is in excellent working condition. And I asked about, is there any, because it's a soft top, is there any tears or rips or anything even small that could potentially become a bigger issue? No, it's in perfect working shape. All right, sweet. So because he told me the car is an immaculate car and everything's in great shape, we were willing to make that trip and pay full price for it. We had cash in hand. So we woke up at 3:30 in the morning on a Saturday and took off so that we could get there around lunchtime, around 11:30. So we did show up at 11:30, and I saw the car right outside, and so we had gone in and said, hey, we're here, and Chris said he'd come out in a minute. So while we were waiting for him to come out, I just did a walk around to the car, and within 5 seconds, I noticed on the passenger side door, there was a blob of touch-up paint, probably 6 inches long, but it was definitely a blob. And I don't know what kind of scratch was underneath that, but I do know that the car had been sideswiped somehow. Some previous owner probably, rubbed up against some fixed object or something like that. But regardless of what happened, it was not an immaculate car, the immaculate car that he described to me. Chris lied to me on the phone and on FaceTime and misrepresented the condition of the car. Also, on the back of the car, there was probably a 2-inch slice, a vertical slice, looked like somebody had dropped something, and that was covered up with touch-up paint too. Now, touch-up paint, like, whatever, if you're like 20 feet away, maybe you're not going to see it, but like you get up close to it and it's an obvious blemish, and this is not something that anybody could have overlooked. And so I was really upset at that point because Chris had lied to me. Like, you can see that there is imperfections, and I specifically asked you, has there been any scratches, dents, dings in the car, the paint job that's affected it? He's just like, no, it's in immaculate condition. Okay, moving right along. So I checked the tread depth immediately. The little indicator in the tread that lets you know when you need to change your tires. There was like 1/32 of an inch left before that was level with the tread depth. So definitely not 90%. On a low profile tire of like 40,000 mile tire, that means like 90% means it's only been driven for 4,000 miles. Like, they're basically brand new tires, and that's what he told me. And then, when I showed up, I'm like, these probably need to be, the tires probably need to be swapped out by the time we get home. Like, there's no tread depth left on these things. So they tried to argue that with me, like, oh yeah, well, no, these are low profile tires. And dude, I know about tires. Like, these were basically done. These basically need to be swapped out. So, and then at that point, before we had even driven the car, I was pretty sure that I didn't want to buy it because like they were already asking a little bit high end of the price, and it wasn't in the condition that they told me. So I don't want a car that has a big 6-inch blob of touch-up paint on the passenger side door. But we decided to take it for a test drive because my wife was still kind of like, I don't know, like maybe we can get that fixed or something like that. And I'm like, I don't want to go down this path of like getting things fixed, but whatever. So we took it for a test drive, park in a parking lot to try and activate the convertible top. And the convertible top opens only like halfway, and it gets stuck on something. Like it's actually bumping into something, and it's getting stuck. It's not opening smoothly like it's supposed to. So we tried to shut it, tried to do it again. We did it several times. Couldn't get the convertible top to open the way that it's supposed to. So we drove it back. I let Chris know I was upset that he wasn't honest with me. He totally lied about the door, the scratches on the door, the scratch on the back, the tread depth. Totally lied about that. It's not 90%. Anybody can tell that it's not 90%. And then, for whatever reason, the convertible top didn't work, and so I let him know that. He tried to get it to work right there when we brought it back. He couldn't get it to work either. He made some comment that, yeah, it was having some resistance, but we lubed it. I was like, oh, so you knew that there was an issue with the convertible top, and you didn't tell me about that? And now you just kind of like, oops, cat's out of the bag. We did know there was something wrong with the convertible top. So anyway, all that to say, like, totally shady, totally dishonest. And I was just really bummed that we had wasted our Saturday. It took us 15 hours round trip to make this trip. We didn't go home with the car that we wanted, all because he was dishonest. He withheld information. He lied about the condition of the car. I don't know what he was expecting. Like we weren't going to notice those things, or we're going to overlook them, or maybe because we had driven so long, we're like, oh, well, we already wasted our day. Let's buy the car anyway. I don't know what his thinking was, but like it was totally shady. So we let him know we were upset, and within like 20 minutes with the test drive, we're out of there going home. And I was bummed, not only because they were dishonest, but they didn't take responsibility for it. Neither Chris nor his manager Zach ever apologized to date. It's been over a week, and they didn't take responsibility for the fact that they had lied. So I did write a bad Google review, and the owner, Zach, responded to that Google review, basically just trying to save face, basically like passing the blame on me, or, some people have higher standards for cars than others. No, it's not about standards. This isn't a subjective thing. I asked Chris over the phone to tell me everything wrong with it, and I can make an informed decision if he let me know, that there's a scratch on the passenger side door or whatever. Like, let me know that stuff, and then I'll save myself the trip. I'll save you guys the problem, and like we just would have never went out there. So I'm upset that they lied, and I'm upset that they didn't take responsibility for it. So it just sounds like a shady operation. It looks like they have some good Google reviews, and so I'm glad that they've served other customers better than they served us. But I'm just, I'm going to give up on getting an apology from them and them taking responsibility for it. But, I'm really upset at the integrity of this business. And if you're buying a car, you need to have the highest integrity. You need to be honest with your people. Otherwise, you're going to get a bad name. So thanks for watching this testimonial, and hope you have a great day.